This week I thought it would be fun to look at some unique movie trivia. Not your everyday run-of-the-mill trivia, but the cool stuff. Quiet on the set, and action. I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is Later That Same Life. On each episode of my weekly podcast, a different topic, discussion, commentary, or story from our lives.
Season 20, Chapter 6, Outstanding Movie Trivia.
I've always loved trivia, the so-called unimportant, insignificant, not essential details, facts, or information on any particular topic. I've never thought of trivia that way. To me, it's just an added set of data, specific information and details. The devil is in the details. Don't call it trivia, because that's just being trivial. You're just diminishing my bank of knowledge. I always owned trivia books. I read them religiously. We were the first in our block to own a copy of Trivial Pursuit. We played often. We invited people over for Trivial Pursuit nights. Not because I was trying to be social or I loved gameplay, but because I was trying to prove to our friends and neighbors how smart I was. Yes, I usually won. I'm not saying I'm Jeopardy level good, but at the very least, double A pub quiz league capable. I also love movies, and therefore movie trivia. And there's a lot of it out there, much of it interesting only to movie nerds, and that's fine. But this episode is about outstanding trivia. Trivia that would impress your friends and easily take over any dinner conversation instantly. Let's do it. Remember the 2013 movie Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix? Director Spike Jonze's prescient look at our relationship with artificial intelligence. Apparently Jones loosely based his script on his brief marriage to Sofia Coppola. Remember the 2003 Sofia Coppola movie Lost in Translation, starring Bill Murray? Coppola loosely based her script on her brief marriage to Spike Jonze. In both films, the lead female protagonist is played by Scarlett Johansson. The Coppola family lineage in movies is long. At the top, of course, is Francis Ford Coppola and his younger sister, Talia Shire, famous as Connie in the Godfather films and Adrian in the Rocky movies. Then there's Francis Ford Coppola's daughter, the aforementioned Sofia, an accomplished director-actress. Sofia made her movie debut as an infant. She appeared as the baby in the famous Godfather baptism scene. Sister Talia Shire was married to David Shire, a film composer. Their son Matthew is a respected TV and film producer. Talia then married film producer Jack Schwartzman. Their son Jason is a well-known actor with a long list of credits. Then there's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew, Nicholas Kim Coppola, who changed his name to Cage when he got into film acting to avoid accusations of nepotism. It fooled no one. It's not that Cage's career is based on nepotism, it's not. But everyone knew. It was usually the first line in articles about him. Actor Nicolas Cage, born Nicholas Coppola, who was the nephew of, it probably would have brought less attention to it if he just kept his name. Next, the movie No Country for Old Men. Referenced in the book and the film is a real-life case, the murder of U.S. federal judge John H. Wood, Jr., nicknamed Maximum John Wood of San Antonio, Texas. The movie is not about this case, it's just referenced in the film. Convicted in this murder case was professional hitman Charles Harrelson, father of actor Woody Harrelson, who is in No Country for Old Men. The elder Harrelson has also claimed he was involved in the JFK assassination. That is not likely, but he was a convicted murderer. Died of a heart attack in prison in 2007. Adding to the Charles Harrelson legend is the story that Woody Harrelson and actor Matthew McConaughey might be half-brothers.
Is that it is convinced that you and Matt McConaughey are actually brothers. So
Well, I think there might be a possibility that that's true.
The origin of this story is actually McConaughey's mother, Mary Kathleen. The two actors, already longtime friends, were on vacation together in Greece in the early 2020s. Various family members also on the trip. One night, Mary Kathleen says to Woody, "I knew your father," hinting that there may have been a romantic involvement. And she knew Woody's dad during a time that she was separated from James McConaughey. James McConaughey is the guy who raised Matthew as his dad. And this was during the couple's second divorce. And years later, they would remarry. Third time's the charm, I guess. And during that separation, it's the exact time that Charles Harrelson was in the area on furlough from prison. And this was long before the Judge murder. Matthew's conception was also right around that time. Part of the McConaughey family legend that's been passed down is a story that James refused to go to the hospital when Mary Kathleen went into labor with Matthew because he said, "I'm not going, that's not my kid." Matthew was born in November of 1969. By the way, Woody Harrelson is 8 years older than Matthew. Now, Woody Harrelson has said that he knew of that connection decades ago. But now he was hearing it from Mary Kathleen herself. Her three-time husband, James, had long since passed in 1992. The two actors were born in Texas, in towns about a half a day's drive apart. They have been pretty open about this topic, joking about the family resemblance, the circumstances, the plausibility, and though they have indicated they might take DNA tests, as far as we know, they haven't yet.
I think it'd be premature to explain to you guys why we might be brothers, but let me just say, I think we are brothers.
On a related note, and this is not movie trivia, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but there's also a chance that Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan may be a half-brother to comedian Bill Burr. Now, these guys look alike. And this originated with Corgan's stepmom telling him he had a half-brother from the Boston area, also named Bill. Eventually, she said it was Bill Burr. Corgan's father was a traveling nightclub musician and a bit of a rogue, and admitted to his famous son that he in fact fathered 12 different children with many different women. Corgan's father took the rest of the secrets to his grave. Like McConaughey and Harrelson, Corgan and Burr have discussed this, but are not planning DNA tests that we know of. You can Google the rest. Fascinating stories. But back to the outstanding movie trivia. Hope you're impressed so far. At the very least, your flabbers have been gasted. Where to next? Let's see. Oh, okay. Die Hard. And no, this is not the debate as to whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not. As far as I'm concerned, any movie that you enjoy watching at Christmas is a Christmas movie. I don't care if it's Die Hard or Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch. Oh, side note trivia before we get back to Die Hard. The iconic mask worn by Michael Myers in the original 1978 movie Halloween and the follow-up Halloween 2 is a modified William Shatner Captain Kirk mask. It's true. They were on a very tight budget, so production designer Tommy Lee Wallace bought this mask for roughly $2 at a local store. He spray painted it white, widened the eye holes, and teased out the hair. Boom, William Shatner, Halloween. Probably not the first time that Shatner has scared the shit out of people, but there you go. And now back to our feature presentation, Die Hard. Did you know that Die Hard producers were contractually obligated to offer that Bruce Willis part to Frank Sinatra? Oh yeah, Old Blue Eyes had first right of refusal. Imagine Die Hard with Frank Sinatra, who was already in his early 70s at the time. You see, Die Hard was based on the novel Nothing Lasts Forever. It was a sequel to a book called The Detective. The Detective was made into a 1968 movie starring Frank Sinatra. Frank's contract for that movie stated that he was to play Detective Joe Leland in any sequels. I'm sure to everyone's relief, Frank turned it down, and the character was changed from Joe Leland to a younger, grittier John McClane, as played by Willis. You probably know that Willis was far from the first choice for the role. Every other actor in Hollywood was first offered the part, including Lassie. Willis, at the time, was a rising TV star on the show Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd. TV stars can't lead movies, but somehow he got the part. Bruce Willis was not a movie star when he landed the role, but Die Hard made him one. Could have been Frank Sinatra, though, right? Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Doobie-doobie-doo. Speaking of Bruce Willis, who could forget, although I'm sure many people are trying, the 1989 classic, Look Who's Talking, starring the 1-2 Scientology punch of John Travolta and Kirstie Alley. One of their talking babies, voiced by Bruce Willis. Fast forward to 1994 and Quentin Tarantino's classic Pulp Fiction, John Travolta's character is shot dead by Bruce Willis. Baby executes father. Did you know that a Starbucks cup appears in every scene of the movie Fight Club? Every scene is a somewhat subtle nod to the plague of corporate consumerism. Remember the movie American Psycho, starring Christian Bale? Amazing actor, right? Allegedly, part of his portrayal as a psycho was inspired by a late-night TV interview he saw with Tom Cruise. Bale observed that Cruise had a Martian-like quality to him, intensely friendly, yet emotionally vacant. Perfect, he thought, for his psycho character. American Psycho, inspired by Tom Cruise. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Which reminds me, Alfred Hitchcock's original Psycho was the first major North American theatrical release to feature a shot of a toilet. First time ever. Not only that, it was seen and heard flushing. Movie standards and practices in the day fought to have the shot removed. I mean, the indecency. Hitchcock insisted, saying the shot was necessary to show the flushing away of that incriminating ripped-up notepaper. He won Movie Classic and Classic Movie Trivia. Speaking of the classics, Casablanca, a movie I've seen 100 times, and I never knew that Sam, at least the actor playing him, Dooley Wilson, could not play the piano. He faked it the entire movie. Wilson was a singer and a drummer, so they placed a piano player, Elliot Carpenter, just off camera so that Wilson could mimic his moves. Awkward anecdote. Wilson and Carpenter were the only two black guys on the set. It was 1942. I guess there wasn't a lot of interracial mingling, so they would hang out together, and they became lifelong friends. In the summer of 1996, during the filming of the James Cameron movie Titanic in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and it was only day 21 of the filming process, over 80 cast and crew members, including Cameron himself, were poisoned at a midnight lunch break after someone laced the clam chowder with PCP, a dangerous illegal hallucinogenic drug sometimes called angel dust. People experienced extreme confusion, hallucinations, and euphoria, with some dancing, crying. Bill Paxton said that he witnessed some employees out in the parking lot doing wheelies in wheelchairs. There was an intense investigation, but no one was ever charged. Authorities think it might have been a disgruntled employee who had had issues with the caterers. The incident has been since referred to as the Titanic drug poisoning or psychedelic chowder. I like the latter. I'll have the psychedelic chowder, please. Oh, you know what? Give me some of those coma crackers. Psychedelic chowder. Sounds like something, huh? An album? Talk show? I don't know, it's something. Hey, let's go with some science fiction outstanding movie trivia. Staying with James Cameron for a moment, in the original Terminator movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger has only 17 lines, a reported total of 58 words. He was paid $75,000 for that early movie role, meaning he earned approximately $1,300 per word.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. That's $4,000. And though that is a cool piece of trivia, when Terminator 2 came out 7 years later, Arnold was paid $15 million, and he was up to about 700 words. And that's over 21 grand per word. Well, what can you say? He was a big star. In the asteroid sequence of the 1980 Star Wars movie The Empire Strikes Back, animators included a potato and a shoe. They are seen floating by with other asteroids. Animators did it just to amuse themselves. It's not particularly noticeable until you know it's there, and then you can't help but see it. A couple of years before he was Cliff Clavin on Cheers, actor John Ratzenberger appeared in The Empire Strikes Back. Some trivia sites say he was a stormtrooper, but that's false. He's actually recognizable as a named character, Major Ben Derlin. He's at the Echo base, and notably tells Princess Leia that it's time to close the shield doors. In later years, though, many notable people would cameo as stormtroopers, unrecognizable because of the costume. They include Daniel Craig, Ed Sheeran, Princes William and Harry, Tom Hardy, and Stephen Colbert. On to The Matrix. The famous Matrix code was designed by a guy who took Japanese letters from his wife's sushi cookbook and then modified them. The green color was a nod to the old computer screens. And though those letters don't actually mean anything, the Matrix code is sushi. And now moving to the last few bits of movie trivia. We all know Simon Cowell, the multimillionaire media mogul, the man behind the Got Talent franchise, The X Factor, and many more, often appearing as the tough, no-nonsense judge, Simon Cowell. One of his early jobs was as a junior production assistant, a runner, a gopher, at a movie studio in his native England. The same studio where Stanley Kubrick was filming The Shining. One of Simon Cowell's first duties in show business was polishing Jack Nicholson's axe. You know, when he bursts through the door.
Here's Johnny!
Cowell cleaned and polished the axe between takes. And you know, when Nicholson chops in and yells, "Here's Johnny," that line was ad-libbed by Jack. The original line was supposed to be something like, "Wendy, I'm home." Kubrick, who was born American but spent most of his career in England, didn't get the reference. They had to talk him into keeping the line in the movie. Now, it's iconic. Lastly, and this is not as much movie trivia as it is movie-related trivia, it's actor Jack Black's connection to Apollo 13, the actual mission. Especially noteworthy now with the recent Artemis flight, setting up what may be the first moon landing in over 50 years. Apollo 17 was the last to land on the lunar surface.
This is Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed. Jesus H. Christ, Houston. We're on the moon. Over. Roger, Tranquility. We copy that. We cannot believe you are on the moon. I'm descending the ladder. Just one more step and I'm wholly living. I absolutely am standing on the surface of the moon. Jesus H. Christ in a chicken basket.
But Apollo 13 was that ill-fated mission that had to abort and then figure out how to get back down to Earth in one piece. The movie starred Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, and Kevin Bacon as real-life astronauts Jim Lovell, Fred Hayes, and Jack Swigert. To get them back to Earth, they used something called the Abort Guidance System. That was designed by Jack Black's mother, a noted aerospace engineer, Judith Love Cohen. When she worked on this system, she was actually pregnant with Jack. He was born in August of 1969. Apollo 13 was April of 1970. But they used the guidance system that she designed. Most of us might better remember the movie than the actual mission, but Jack Black's mom saved lives. I will never watch Apollo 13 again without thinking of Jack Black's mom, Judith Love Cohen. Okay, I lied. I actually do have one more. The MGM Lion, that roar that you hear. It opens so many movies over decades. Not actually a lion you are hearing. Technicians found that the lion's roar was too low and rumbling. So the MGM Lion is a mix of sounds, primarily a tiger. I was stunned to find that out, maybe even astounded. Next thing you know, you'll be telling me that movies aren't real.
Later That Same Life is written, voiced, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. Larry Fedoruk 37 at gmail.com. Subscribe to Larry's YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications with each new episode.